anytime I would do a mistake, my mom never did random punishments. Yes, my mom would sit me down, tell me, Freddie, this is what you have done. You understand that? I would say, yes, I understand that. And then she would say, I'm going to give you 6 for that. All right? We're good? Now, before I give you 6, quote that verse. I had memorized the verse. It was Ephesians chapter 6, verse 1 to 3. Children, obey your parents, for this is right. This is the first commandment with a promise, so that you may live long in the land which the Lord your God is giving you. I quote that, I get 6.
So, I get your school life. I've understood it.
Yes.
I've understood those transitions.
We're still in primary,
Yes,
but now how is the
primary.
music
Yes.
intensifying?
Because
Yes.
now let's talk about media.
Yes.
Because you had mentioned earlier on Metro FM.
Metro.
Okay, first of all, you mentioned Tony Msalame.
Yes, Tony Msalame.
And the evening show where lyrics were happening.
That show.
You mentioned
we
Michael
do.
Jackson and
Yes,
Babs.
yes.
So let's now enter
into what I was consuming around that era.
TV.
There
Yes,
we go.
yes.
Now, when we got a TV when I was about, when we moved to Thika, that's when we got a TV. So all my life in Nairobi, we never had a TV. We used to have a radio. And so that radio, what would happen is every Saturday, when I'm washing my own clothes, I would set up the radio outside, wash my clothes as I'm listening to the countdown on KBC on Saturdays. And that's how I started consuming music and consuming countdowns and listening to them. And I remember the first time there was, and I can't remember his name. Oh my God, I can't remember this guy's name. This guy came to school with a CD player at Nairobi South. Oh man. And then he said,
A Discman.
A Discman.
A Discman.
He came with a Discman, and it was a Tupac album.
For those wondering what a Discman is, it was a portable
Music player.
Music player.
Yes.
A portable Spotify. It's like a mobile phone of back in the day. You can't even explain what a Discman is to this
You
gen.
can't. But the people who are watching know.
But it was gold.
Hey, I remember.
And it was elitish.
It was
because
so
it was Walkman.
elite.
First it was Walkman.
Yes. Then it went to Discman.
Discman was, hey.
You see, my ears were used to listening to tape. Then for the first time, I had a CD. I remember the first time I wore those headphones and I listened to Hit 'Em Up.
Hit 'Em Up was what you started listening to.
That was the first jam I listened on a
Hey,
CD.
my guy, you started rough.
I started rough, man.
Cleaning the airwaves, go. I can't leave you hanging. Hit 'Em Up. Woo, we were Tupac was angry in
I
that song.
remember hearing to the sonics of that sound and went like, music sounds like this? Music sounds like, what am I listening to? How come my radio doesn't sound like this? You know, see, it is high fidelity music, man.
It's basically you're saying
Our
quality
ears-
is insane.
Remember, our ears now are so used to compressed music. If you listen to uncompressed music, it will hit you differently. Uncompressed music just hits differently. It's not like listening to an MP3. When you listen to music on Tidal
Yes.
and listen to music on Spotify, it's night and day.
Why?
Because the Tidal has higher quality files. FLAC, uncompressed audio.
But do you think
Yes.
it is also gifted of your ears? Because the
By
the
the
layman
way,
may not get this thing that you're saying.
Wow, that's very interesting. I'd forgotten about that perspective.
And maybe this was a gifting God's already given you from that time. Because you are talking about listening to a CD, you're talking about the quality.
Yes.
Who guys normally be like, wait,
Your bed's in Anguka. And
so
go like,
so
man,
actually that's a very deep thing you've said. So when
Yes.
you had it, for you the thing that stood out was quality.
the way that music was sounding was like, our radio doesn't sound like this. Our radio doesn't sound like this.
That's powerful.
I'd never had music like that. You know, and I remember back then, guys like Metro FM, they were playing CDs on air. So the songs were not even, the curses were dropping. So I remember when I used to listen to them, I would listen to the guys like Lost Boys. That was my cup of tea. Guys like Fugees.
Okay, so I know what era this is. This is 97.
This is now the late from 95 to 99.
Yes, in fact, I
guys
remember.
like Akina DMX, Akina Timbaland, Akina Aaliyah. That is now my cup of tea there. R. Kelly, you know, Jay-Z. That era. That's now I'm starting, and I'm heavily consuming hip hop and R&B.
Okay. Hey, Krowbar,
Heavily.
this city
Yes.
is going to be 15 hours long.
Okay.
I have so many questions.
All
There's
right.
something that you've said for me, that you've said it like it's normal,
Yes.
but it's not normal to everybody.
All right.
So, for example, it wasn't normal to me.
Okay.
Me, I wasn't washing clothes.
Oh. Okay.
So, is that then what life was for you? Were you cooking food? Were you washing
Oh
clothes?
yes. Washing my own clothes, cleaning the house, cooking food.
Because it's you and your mom.
It's just me and my mom. It's just me and my mom. Remember, all this time I'm brought up as an only child. All this time I'm brought up as an only child. And so my mom didn't baby me up. I remember when I started going to primary school, my mom said, every time you come from school, brush your shoes, wash your socks. Those are the two things. And then I remember the following year says...
And you're catching a mat to school?
No, I'm walking.
You're walking? Okay.
Walking to and from. Walking
Okay.
to and from. So I'm walking from industrial prisons to Nairobi South. And then from there, it started adding. It started adding up. It would say, after every 2 days, you wash your shirts.
Okay.
Like that. After every other days. And then on the weekends, wash all your uniform. And because it's only uniform you're washing, that's all you're wearing.
Yes.
I mean, because on Saturdays, you're only wearing home clothes like twice in a week. Unless school is closed.
This may sound like an obvious thing that I'm saying, but I've come to realize, depending on how you're grown up, there's some things that look like chores that are actually disciplines that you're being taught in life.
Do you know up to today people get shocked when they hear I was raised as an only child? Because it doesn't appear. When someone meets me or when they interact with me, they go like, oh yeah. And then I have sisters, you know. So their minds, they think I grew up in that community setting. It is until they go like, you are raised
You know,
up like
I'm
this.
waiting. Actually, it's so
Yes,
funny.
yes.
In my head, I'm
Yes.
waiting to hear you say, "Oh, that's now when my sister came." I'm actually, by the way, for real, I'm actually waiting for you to say, "Oh, then my dad came and then my sister came."
Oh,
You
yeah.
get?
No. So what happened? Let me give you
And
context.
first and foremost, let me just say this. I
Yes.
understand why now your character is the way it is. I can.
Oh, you can now place it.
I can see discipline
Yes.
from something small as washing shirts,
Yeah.
cleaning the house. It sounds tiny.
Let me tell you, my mom was unapologetic about these things. My mom was like, when you wake up, the first thing you do is you make your bed. You never go to school with dirty shoes. This is because my mom has prisons training.
Standards.
And prison standards are,
Military.
during training is, the first thing you wake up is make your bed.
It's that kakol, that
Yes,
kakona, that kakona.
and my mom taught me how to. Even my wife says, I like the way you make the bed. Because when I make the bed, it's like a hotel. I know how to tuck my sheets properly. I know how to. It's tight, it's clean, it's proper.
Krowbar, I know
Yes.
this. I know I'm dwelling here.
Yeah.
But I'll say it again. The way you make your bed
Yes.
is the way you'll arrange your CDs. It's the way you'll archive your
Okay,
things.
very true.
It's the way you'll
So
handle
true.
your money.
Yes.
Like, it sounds like a very tiny thing, but years have come to show me
Yes.
some of the things that I got as privilege
Yes.
that prevented me doing some things
Yes.
became as hindrances later on in life that I had to start
pitfalls.
later on. You get what I mean? So when I look at you, I'm able to see
Yes.
why you are the way that you are.
Wow.
But another thing that's shocking me,
Yeah.
again, because of the character that you have,
Yes.
I'm shocked that you even know who Hit 'em Up is. Hence brings the question,
Yes.
church, you've not mentioned a thing about church in this
Very
era.
good question. Let me talk about now church. When I was born in the 80s, my mom was Catholic. 1992, that's when my mom got saved. So, in fact, my mom got saved when I was just about to finish my catechism classes, so that I started taking sacrament. I was, so I would have been so good at, and then, you know. My mom got saved just when I was about to finish my catechism classes. And my mom got saved in a radical way. My mom got saved. She used to hang out with this bunch of ladies that became her friends. And these ladies were radical believers. And I remember in less than 3 or 6 months, my mom was filled with the Holy Spirit. My mom was praying in tongues.
At 92, you're in Thika?
No, at 92, we are in Inda. We are in Inda. So
yes.
the moment my mom got saved, that's when I started going to Nairobi, sir. So from that day, and I don't know why I forgot to mention this, from that day up to today, I have never walked out of my mother's house without her laying hands on me. She says, come here. She lays her hands on me and she says a prayer, even if it's for 10 seconds. Like, God, watch over this child, cover him with the blood of Jesus, give him a successful day. Go. There was once I left home without being prayed for when I was at Nairobi South. That was my worst day, and I remember it. I arrived at school late. I got a very bad whooping. And then I had a very bad running stomach. When I was going home, I pooped on myself.
What?
Akimanze. I think I was in about either class 5 or class 6. And so I can imagine walking around with shorts, holding your shorts so that your poop doesn't fall down. I walked home from Nairobi South to industrial area smelling like that. Was my worst day ever. And I remember when I got home, I told my mom, I'm never leaving this house without you praying for me.
What?
Never leaving this house. If you saw, at days my mom would have night shifts and then she would come, check in, wake up, I prepare myself, pack everything I need. I would go to her bed and I would tell her, Mom, pray for me. Lay hands on my head.
So,
go.
Yeah, that's this deep.
Yeah.
So are you churching?
Yes.
Who are you then? Are you saved?
At that point,
no,
during this
you just
era,
know that prayers work.
Between 92 and 2003, I got saved very many times.
Okay.
I got, just like a kid. You know,
yes,
the way you
I
can get saved very many times. I'm not really grounded. I'm not understanding the weight of the decision I'm making. I'm just getting saved from an emotional point of view.
I get it.
The salvation concept hasn't really sunk in.
And are you going to church though?
We are going to church at Crisco Fellowship.
Oh, Crisco.
Crisco, yes, okay. Yes. So my mom was a Crisco woman and Apostle Harry Das. you have to understand that. If you don't know that, you don't.
If you don't know, you know.
If you know,
yeah,
you know.
Me clearly, I don't know.
You don't know that. So we used to go to Crisco Church. All that time, even when we transferred to Thika, we went to Crisco Thika. I think it was under Pastor Karanja or something. Basically, me, I'm a church guy. But when we got to Thika, something flipped for me. I would tell Mom, I don't want to go to church. And guess what my mom would do? My mom never forced me to go to church.
Nice.
Up to today, I found that very interesting. I would tell Mom, I don't want to go to church. Mom would say, come. Lay hands on me, then she would leave.
But you still wanted hands laid on you?
Do you know what my mom would say?
Yeah.
As long as I have prayed for you, I'm know you're okay. You are marked. My mom would tell me on my face, you are a marked man.
You have an amazing relationship with your mom, eh?
Sana, up to today, you are a marked man.
Okay. Was your mom your friend?
My mom is my friend.
Well, and then at that time?
Even at that time, me and my mom, we've never had qualms. Yes.
Hey, qualms, I haven't had that in a minute. Shows your age. Qualms was it?
So me and my mom, we've never had issues. We've never had issues per se. Let me give you context. In my primary school, anytime I would do a mistake, my mom never did random punishments. Yes, my mom would sit me down, tell me, Freddie, this is what you have done. You understand that? I would say, yes, I understand that. And then she would say, I'm going to give you 6 for that. All right? We're good? Now, before I give you 6, quote that verse. I had memorized the verse. It was Ephesians chapter 6, verse 1 to 3. Children, obey your parents, for this is right. This is the first commandment with a promise, so that you may live long in the land which the Lord your God is giving you. I quote that, I get 6.
By the way, your mom deserves an Oscar.
Manzi, it was structured. My mom never gave me a random one.
Do you understand how rare that is?
That is very
for
rare.
that era.
Every
for that era.
time I share that story, even to anyone, that is a very random thing.
Like,
that is a very rare thing, not random.
Yes, it's a very rare. It's a very calculated.
It's a very calculated
it's
move.
Not. It's calculated too.
The same thing she did is the same thing I'm implementing in my own house.
Yep. My wife has taught me how to do that, to explain if you do wrong, this is a punishment.
Yes.
And when they do wrong,
yes.
you then explain to them.
This is
and
what
they know.
Yes.
And these guys are like, I know.
Yeah, they understand, yes.
But she made you then quote the verse. Paka even now you know it.
That is one of the verses that was internalized. Yes. And then she broke it down for me like, this is the only commandment with a what? A promise. There is no other commandment with a promise. This is the only one. What is the promise? That you may live long in the land your God is giving you. So that land is a calling that God will bestow unto you. And that calling, you will do it long for his glory. That's why you need to obey me.
God, this story is sweet. Okay. We
are still in primary.
We're still in primary, but it's coming to the end. It's like we're approaching class 8.
We're going there.
And again, let me ask.
Yeah.
Dad hasn't checked in at this time?
Dad has checked in.
Okay,
let me tell you. I have a very good story of how he checked in.
But your parents were not together?
They were not together.
Okay, that's clear.
They've always been separated.
Okay.
And so, based on the stories I had was,